Market. Experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman. Your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures. Visit dormanday.ky.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market. Parents, if you're navigating the world of boarding schools, it can feel overwhelming. Dorman Day are here to help. You don't have to do it alone. Whether your child is reaching for new academic challenges, looking to shine as a competitive athlete, or simply searching for the school that brings out their best, Dorman Day are your trusted educational experts located right here in Georgetown. For 10 years, Dorman Day have helped families just like yours to find the best fit schools with one-on-one support every step of the way. So why stress when you can have an experienced partner by your side? Visit dormanday.ky or call 936-3676 today. Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Caymanian Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Caymanian Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Caymanian Insurance Center.
Call today.
Tired of burning cash at the gas pump and wasting time in traffic? Say goodbye to gridlock and hello to freedom with a Kimco scooter from Automotive Art. Trusted in over 100 countries, Kimco is now known worldwide for reliable, fuel-efficient scooters built to last. Perfect for Cayman's roads. With two models to choose from, the Agility 125cc for just $23.99 and the Agility RS Naked 125cc for $24.99. It's the smart, budget-friendly way to beat traffic and cut costs. Visit Automotive Art today and ride smarter with Kimco, because saving money should never mean slowing down. 89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome to The Buzz. I am your guest host, ORRETT Connor, filling in for Miss Kathy Miller. So this morning on The Buzz, a powerful roundtable on child safeguarding with Cayman's frontline defenders. With Child Safeguarding Week just days away, we are asking questions that cut to the heart of protection, prevention, and partnership. So I want to welcome our listeners and our viewers. We do have guests in the studio with us this morning. We have Detective Superintendent Mr. Richard Barrow from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Services Protection Services. Also with us, Detective Chief Inspector Miss Lorraine Roberts, also from the RCIPS Protective Services. Folks, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, and I want to give both of you an opportunity to reintroduce yourselves and tell us the role that you play within the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. Mr. Barrow?
Okay, good morning again, and thanks for having us. I'm Richard Barrow. I am the portfolio lead for the Royal Cayman Islands Protective Services Unit.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm Lorraine Roberts. I'm a Detective Chief Inspector. I came to Cayman just only 3 months ago.
Wow.
But I served 34 years in London in the Metropolitan Police Service.
Excellent. So, in the context of Cayman's legal and community, what does child safeguarding mean?
Well, for the RCIPS, we take child safeguarding very, very serious. As a matter of fact, that is the reason why the current commissioner had done a reorganization of the service, and there's now a detective superintendent portfolio lead for that area of the business. Mm-hmm. So that I think that should give an indication of the emphasis that the commissioner has placed on this area of the business. And as a matter of fact, within our 3-year plan, one of our main policing priorities is the protection of vulnerable and at-risk people, with a key emphasis on children. So what we're looking at is having a unit, and Mr. Conner, you mentioned something very early in your early narrative, a keyword, partnership. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So within the Protective Services Unit, there is a unit referred to as the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub. And that's correct, mm-hmm. MASH. And the RCIPS is a part of that, with other agency stakeholders comprising of Department of Children and Family Services, Department of Education, Department of Health, mm-hmm. and we work together with also NGOs and other external partners in looking at how best we can safeguard our children that I refer to as Cayman's greatest resource.
Okay, Ms. Roberts, anything you want to add to?
Yeah, well, safeguarding for me is protecting our children. And it's not just the cute young ones, it's also the teenagers who might not be wearing a hoodie, sometimes looking disgruntled, sometimes we're not knowing what's going on in their lives. It's protecting all children and keeping them safe. And as a community, looking out for what signs we need to spot to see if they're okay, mentally and physically.
Okay. Is there a difference between safeguarding and child protection?
Well, safeguarding is, I would say, the umbrella topic, and protection comes under that, because safeguarding is not just only of being reactive, but also proactive, mm-hmm. also looking at early signs. And what is really interesting is that if we are really being honest, it is a bigger challenge today than, Mr. Conner, when you and I were growing up. Mm-hmm. We would have known that there is an old saying, it takes a village. But what a very good colleague of mine told me recently, well, some time back, that was a real eye-opener. Nowadays, you'll find more often, well, maybe not more often, but you'll find on occasion, the reality is that not all villagers are good villagers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So going back to the village concept, which was very important, it was almost as though every child was always under a human microscope. So there was always someone that was looking out for the child. And sometimes, without even understanding safeguarding, but sometimes just making sure that that child represented the good morals and the good upbringing of their parents. And when they stepped over the line, there was always somebody to implement corrective measures, even if that was just a good stern talking. But that village has changed now, because in this day and age, we got the digital villages, the online social communities, and that is one of the biggest challenges for us. So you'll find now that we have to look at implementing measures that also provide safeguarding for that digital world, those social communities that we find now are very, very impactful.
Can we talk about some of the most common safeguarding concerns that have been reported locally? And we know that the Cayman landscape has changed considerably. We have a lot more nonprofit organizations operating. In my early days, and I'm going to age myself now, but when we were involved in when I participated in the Cubs, and the Scouts, we had leaders. There was not the necessity to do background checks because we knew who our leaders were, because they were all part of our community. Like I said, the landscape in the Cayman Islands has changed considerably, and we have more persons now where we know their names, we may know their faces, but we may not know their backgrounds, as well. So if we could talk about that and the most common safeguarding concerns that have been reported locally.
Well, for me, coming here from London, it's been really interesting to see how common the same themes that are occurring in England are occurring here. So my role is to look at all the referrals with the partners who are going to be coming to join us in the next section of this from social services. So myself, Tynisa and Doris sit down and we look at all the cases that are referred to our multi-agency safeguarding hub, and we grade them high, medium and low. So our high cases, what I'm really surprised is the amount of neglect that is still being reported to us, which is good, that people out there in the community are spotting those signs. So when I'm looking at with neglect, we're looking at children's behaviour, either at school or in the community, where they are either obviously neglected, but sometimes under subtle signs that that if their home isn't, they're not being fed properly, etc. A big indication to us is when children are not being taken to school. It's not even when they're in school, because when they're in school, the schools do a really good job. They've got some great safeguarding. But I think when children are not suddenly at school, that's when the harm, and I'd like our listeners to look out for those children who are not in school when they should be. But neglect is one of our main areas. Richard, do you want to talk about some others?
Yes, and one of the things that we do look at, and I try to implore the team to look at, is yes, we will address the activity or the conduct that comes to our attention, but we try to look at the root cause.
Always,
also,
yeah.
So you define even in the neglect area, I think we got to be realistic. There are parents nowadays that struggle, and the economy is not making that easier. Yeah, and you'll find sometimes the treatment or lack thereof of a child could be a default position for that. What we also see is cruelty to children, and sometimes it is not, in my opinion, it is not ill intent, but there are still persons that believe in the old school discipline methods, and you'll find sometimes that really goes overboard to even cause the child physical harm. That tantamount to a criminal offense of assault. And again, too, yes, we'll address the activity, but again, the causation might not be ill intent, but it might just be a cycle. Maybe that's how they were brought up, that's how they were disciplined, and they might have the mentality, well, I'm no worse off from it, so therefore it seemed to have worked, so it should work on you also. And then there are also psychological factors in the sense that I always said, I'll digress a bit. I am a parent also, and I think that puts me in a really good place as the lead for this unit, because I'm not speaking abstract. I can speak to reality. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I recognize is you must listen to children. I'm sure that a lot of parents would tell you, you got to make it up as you go along. There's no book that's written that tells you.
Yes.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, I have one child, and knowing that, it changed my life, because you're suddenly responsible for a next human being. So even though I know there's no one book or script, I was still reading. and one thing that stayed with me, Mr. Connor and listeners, is one sentence that always stayed with me, and this is, there are people too. So when we say that and parents sometimes could expose kids to psychological abuse, and I think that even though we implore parents to listen, but listen with the purpose of not just saying that you have given the child a chance to be heard, but listen with the purpose of understanding. Even though nowadays that's a challenge because they speak and write differently, so you got to understand that also. But I think that's one of the things that we see coming that can be preventative when it comes to the reports we're getting.
And it's also looking at the level of harm, isn't it? Yeah. So, as we say, we assess them as low, medium, high. Right. So the whole point of the police and social services is to prevent crime and keep those children safe. So we also look at the age of the parent. Do they need some support? Where do they need that support? And we then ensure that they get that support by using the charities and connections that we have that we know are working. And again, we were talking earlier that one of your questions was like, who are these people? We make sure that we want to make sure we refer them to the right people to get the right help and they don't get further abuse. But those high children harm, where again, Richard talks about the village, it's really important that that child that's being maybe assaulted at home will act differently in school. They might be withdrawn. They might also act out violence to their peers. We see that a lot. So children that have witnessed violence, actually, and there's lots of evidence base for this, will then think that is how to act in the community. And then often they get excluded from school from that acting behaviour, and then we put them back in the home where they are then abused more. So we've got to break that cycle. So that's why we're asking all our listeners not to think about, as Richard says, what is that causes of why that child is acting that way. Let's not always then just label that child as a troubled child, but let's help that child. Let's break that cycle and let's intervene with the traumas and ACEs and give them different coping mechanisms to then respond differently to their peers.
Yeah, because you could end up making the victim the perpetrator, as if the victim is the perpetrator.
Yeah, and I'm really fascinated. So I did a degree on that in London, in Cambridge University, looking at the overlap between victims and offenders. And sadly, it is breaking that cross-generational pattern that we know that in this community there'll be certain families, everyone will know here it's a small island, and they have been criminals throughout time. Let's together break that cycle. And it needs everybody to help us do that.
Yep.
Okay, can we talk about the signs, the signs that may indicate that a child is at risk? And I know we have some of our listeners, out there who work very closely with children, the bus drivers in the morning, the bus wardens in the morning, as far as school children are concerned. They're the ones to make the first contact, with a child. They know their mannerisms, they know their demeanor, and they will probably be the first to identify any change that has taken place. What advice would you give to them?
So, Connie, you raise a very good point, especially so. If you really look at it, if you were to plot the day in the life of a child, a great percentage of that time, they are within sight of an adult, and the idea is to place an obligation on every adult to be able to recognize signs in change of behavior. It could even be dress code. There could be signs of abuse, even though sometimes that too could be self-inflicted, because that's a concern we have to where we are seeing young people self-harming for all different kinds of reasons. For the schools, it could be not only behavior, it could also be different methods now of socializing. It could be the falling grades. Being tired, a child that was normally energetic being tired, a child that would normally be very manly, we call it, but now being aggressive and not complying with rules. So there are so many signs in the home. One of the things that we, especially for parents, and I know as a parent to this generation, we cannot deny them technology. That's the world they're in. Otherwise, we are placing them at a big disadvantage. But whether in school or at home, monitor their online activity. That is, and there are ways you can do that. And the parents, if you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to put parental controls on devices, reach out to us. We can assist with that. But that is very, very important.
I think going on as well from that, I mean, you've raised all the really important points, but the online abuse in the bedroom is really a concern. And we'll share with listeners later a group of apps that some of the children have got on their phone that we wouldn't even know what they are. And if we look at some of the child abuse cases, they are when they're on their Xboxes, they are on Snapchat, they are being victimised that way by adults pretending to be children. So it's, as Mr. Barrow said, it's talking to those child, talking about those threats online, raising their awareness. And another, if we worried about child exploitation, which is huge, it is if they suddenly have got more money or they've got gifts, unexplained gifts, like where did you get those trainers from? Where did you get X from? Or they're coming home really late and you don't know their friends. Just take an interest in their lives and parents will spot it. With signs of neglect, it is easier. But sometimes we've had cases where a child's stolen another child's food and then they've been punished. But what we're asking everyone to say is that child hungry? Why are they forgetting their lunchbox? Is mum giving a real good reason? So it's physical signs and voice of the child. The best way of getting what's going on in that life, of that child's life, is actually to talk to that child.
Okay, so we want to bring into the conversation Ms. Tynisa Forsythe, who's the MASH Unit Social Work Manager, and Mr. Rayle Roberts, Deputy Director, Department of Children and Family Services. Folks, good morning. Welcome to the buzz. I was going to say for the record. Well, welcome, to the buzz, and I'd like you to introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience and tell us exactly what you do.
Good morning, OC, and good morning, Radio Caymanian and all. Rayle Roberts, Deputy Director, Department of Children and Family Services. Sorry, a little bit got what my kids have, and a little under the weather, but yes. Happy to be here to discuss child safeguarding, and along with me is as you said, the MASH manager at the MASH unit, Ms. Tynisa Forsythe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tynisa Forsythe. I'm a social work manager with Department of Children and Family Services. I'm currently assigned to the MASH unit, which stands for the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub.
Okay, so let's talk about how the Department of Children and Family Services renders support to families that are in crisis.
Well, at AOC, I think from the inception of the department, the Department of Children and Family Services has been, through the Children's Act, responsible for safeguarding measures within the Cayman Islands. So that's been our primary focus. We've been doing it for a long, long time. What has happened recently is, again, the director had an epiphany. We used to celebrate yearly the World Children's Day. And she thought that it needed to be a little bit longer and we needed to get more focus on what we do as in safeguarding.
Mm-hmm.
And it is through that discussion and then further discussion with our partners that we came up with the idea of the Safeguarding Week. Not sure what was discussed earlier, but I think it's very, very important that we understand in the Cayman Islands the importance of safeguarding for children. I think when you look at the inception, I've been in the department over 6 years. 6 years ago, I think one of the things we were discussing is the amount of referrals we had. And we felt like the amount of referrals we were getting were lower than what we hear or in the Cayman Islands. And I remember we started pushing to increase awareness at that time to get more people referring, the schools referring, different institutions referring, the churches, that sort of thing. And I think since then, consistently, unfortunately, until now, those referrals are consistently going up. And it's a positive thing because that means that our message has gone out there that there are more people who are understanding that they play a role in child protection, because it's not just the departments that play the role. As it was said earlier, that it's important that everybody understands their role. Also by law that you have a duty to report. But it also indicates the issue that we have in our society, which could have been considered a secret issue, And I think my colleagues here, myself and other partners, are here to try and turn the light up and make sure that we all know that the vulnerable children in our society should not be hurt.
Okay. Can we talk about some of the legal protections that exist for children in the Cayman Islands? And we want to get everyone into that conversation as well. Let's talk about the legal protections.
So currently, the Department of Children and Family Services, as Rayle mentioned, we are guided by the Children's Act 2012 revision. And with that, we have the duty and responsibility of Section 50 of the Children's Law, which is the duty to investigate. With that allows social workers that right to follow up on any suspicion of abuse, any hunch of abuse, any referral that we may have received that would indicate that a child is likely, has suffered, or may suffer from abuse. With that being said, we have different routes that we take with investigations where we work jointly with RCIPS, depending on the nature and the need for their involvement, or sometimes it might be a welfare situation where the department have social workers that would be able to put support and intervention in place as needed.
Okay. RCIPS.
Yes. So from the policing perspective, obviously, with the remit for enforcement, so in respect of the legislation cited, in terms of Section 49, that empowers a police officer, any police officer, who believe that a child is at significant risk of harm to bring that child into care. And then we will communicate with then our colleagues and data in that Section 59, Section 50. But so apart from the criminal nature of it, there's also mechanisms in place where applications can be made for civil protection orders, interim care orders, and that can escalate to even permanent care orders. So there's quite a bit of the legislation affords us jointly to have lawful mechanisms in place, whether through criminal court or civil courts, to safeguard and protect children, immediate, interim, and long term.
And also there's separate offences in the law. So if a child is assaulted, they can still be arrested for assault if they've been raped, etc. So there's separate legislations that the offenders who who are causing those harms to those children, we can take out and arrest them for those offences.
Excellent. So there was a time in the Cayman Islands when you were going into a job and you entered the job and you received the training while on the job. We have seen now in the Cayman Islands where we've become much more proactive. If you have been appointed as a board member, you undergo a certain amount of training before you actually start to do your work as a board member. And similarly, there's training in the realm of child protection as well. Can we talk about the training that is available for educators and youth leaders? So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we're going to talk about that, the subject of training for education and youth leaders. Folks, the Buzz will be back shortly. For those of you who are just joining us, we have in the studio with us Detective Superintendent Mr. Richard Barrow from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Services Protection Services, Detective Chief Inspector Lorraine Roberts, also from the Protective Services of the RCIPS, Miss Tynisa Forsythe, who's the MASH Unit Social Worker Manager, and Mr. Rayle Roberts, the Deputy Director of the Department of Children and Family Services. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. The Buzz will be back shortly.
Tired of burning cash at the gas pump and wasting time in traffic? Say goodbye to gridlock and hello to freedom with a Kymco scooter from Automotive Art. Trusted in over 100 countries, Kymco is now known worldwide for reliable, fuel-efficient scooters built to last. Perfect for Cayman's roads. With two models to choose from, the Agility 125cc for just $23.99 and the Agility RS Naked 125cc for $24.99. It's the smart, budget-friendly way to beat traffic and cut costs. Visit Automotive Art today and ride smarter with Kymco, because saving money should never mean slowing down.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Parents, if you're navigating the world of boarding schools, it can feel overwhelming. Dorm and Day are here to help. You don't have to do it alone. Whether your child is reaching for new academic challenges, looking to shine as a competitive athlete, or simply searching for the school that brings out their best, Dorm and Day are your trusted educational experts located right here in Georgetown. For 10 years, Dorm and Day have helped families just like yours to find the best fit schools with one-on-one support every step of the way. So why stress when you can have an experienced partner by your side? Visit dormandday.ky or call 936-3676 today. Dorm and Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. With Child Safeguarding Week just days away, we're having a conversation here on The Buzz with those persons who represent entities that are at the heart of protection, prevention, and partnership as far as child safeguarding is concerned. We're limited to the amount of time that we have, so we're going to get right into the whole issue of training.
Okay, so training, the Department of Children and Family Services / MASH as well, we offer mandatory child abuse training, which speaks about it. It's a 2-part training, but it speaks about your mandatory duty under Section 32A of the Children's Law 2012 revision, your duty to report if you see something, if you're suspicious, if you know information, your duty would be to report. Once we do that presentation, it educates individual as to how to make a referral to the MASH, how to make a report, whether it's walk-in by telephone as well. From that training, we also speak about signs of abuse. So it helps to educate individuals of physical, sexual, what neglect could look like, what emotional abuse would be. And also we do touch on mental health because that's an area that has been rising for a significant period of time now amongst children, and educators would need to know the signs and of how to deal with such symptoms if they're in a position to address it. Additionally, we also partner with Red Cross, and there's Darkness to Light. A lot of educators or persons who work closely with children would attend that session that is provided through Red Cross. I've attended it a few times. It's a really good session. It helps. It brings awareness. It takes you away from thinking inside the box but looking outside to understand more. So Darkness to Light is also a training or an educational component that can be provided. Additionally, we are aware from DCFS that the Ministry of Education provides mandatory training to all educators, and I think that's where training starts. So it starts with the mandatory training through the education, and we partnership as well with Ministry of Education when needed to provide our DCFS presentation, which allows persons to have that awareness and be educated.
And I think that when it comes especially to the Darkness to Light training, any institution that is working with children, you find that they are now going through or having their workers go through that training. And it's very, very important that we understand, as I said, what our role is in this process. So if any institution is out there that needs information or would like their staff to be trained, I mean, you can always contact the Red Cross or DCFS or MASH to get that training done, because, as I said, the only way we're going to tackle this issue in the Cayman Islands is for us to all to come together, understand our role in it, and do that role successfully, because it's about the information, and the information includes everybody. So what information do you have? What information should you be communicating? It's important that that information is communicated clearly to those who have the ability to do something about it. Again, we are all bound by law, and so it's important that we get as much information as we can so that we can continue to protect these children. And at the MASH, which is the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, we come together and we're working together, communicating effectively so that we can have that response. And it's so important that the response is timely. Many times we sit down and we see these young people, and I say this all the time. You see a child, and a child has been affected or impacted in terms of trauma. That child more than likely is going to be socializing with your child. Yeah, they're going to be socializing in the community with your child. So when you think of protecting your child, you think of not keeping secrets on other things that you may know, because in that essence, you are protecting that other child in that other environment. Another thing that we see, especially at DCFS when it comes to trauma with children, is that sometimes it looks like it's just an event today. And a couple years, months down the road, you see issues coming up or behavioral things happening that could have been avoided earlier on. The quicker we can have that therapeutic intervention, the quicker we can deal with that trauma up front, the more successful that child is going to be and more productive that child will be in our society. So again, I know we're short on time, and I could talk about this all day, but I just think it's very, very, very important that everyone in our community look inside themselves and go, what is it that I am doing as a part of the a part of safeguarding my child by safeguarding all children in the Cayman Islands.
Okay, RCIPS?
Yes, thanks. And I'll just piggyback on Director Roberts, Deputy Director Roberts' little comments, and I totally agree, because you asked a question earlier in terms of some of the areas we see. Although I'm sure we'll come back for a different segment on this topic, domestic abuse. It is pretty prevalent, and one of the things that we have done as an organization is I was tasked with recently revising or rewriting our domestic abuse policy. And embedded in that is the voice of the child. So we have trained our officers for awareness that when they go to a domestic abuse incident, even though it's between two adults, be always mindful of a child present. So to entrench that and to emphasize that, we have made it mandatory that when they go to such reports and there's a child present, they have an obligation, mandatory, to submit a mass referral, because then we assess that and the impact on the child. So it goes to the responsibility of parents that the deputy director just mentioned. So we are doing that, and it's respect of training. What we have done as an organization, all the officers that working within protective services, they are trained to do what we call ABE interviews, and that is a particular kind of interview that it stands for ABE, Achieving Best Evidence. So that's an interview that is conducted when they're dealing with children. And we have trained all our frontline officers also in respect of doing the mass referrals and also doing a DARA risk assessment tool for submission when they go to such matters.
Okay. Ms. Roberts?
So putting all that together, so when we've got a child that's either witnessed domestic abuse, and then they might be then showing that behaviour in the classroom and to peers and being maybe seen as a bully, all the information that we've got from education, all the training that we've talked about, say Tynisa and I and another lady will look at all of those different bits of information, all of those previous referrals on one piece of paper, and map out as a jigsaw what's really going on in their lives. So that's why it's so important, again, to stress to listeners, whatever the issues you're seeing out there, the bus driver, the school officer, the cub leader, etc., the Girls' Brigade, please do, if you think that child's acting differently, let us know, and then we can, as the Director Roberts said, intervene early and ensure that adequate safeguarding of that child.
Okay, while you have the mic, we want to go around the table to give everyone an opportunity for some closing comments as well. We'll start with you, Mr. Roberts.
Yep, see something, say something, report it.
Okay.
And I will just say thanks again for having us. And my message is just to reiterate what I said earlier. Just remember, they are people too.
Okay, Ms. Forsythe.
All right. So it's going to be Child Safeguarding Week celebrated, as Rayle shared earlier, and that starts November 17th to the 21st. The theme is Every Child Save, Every Voice Heard. That's our 2025 theme. We will be having various different events throughout the week. We also have the opportunity to come back to do some radio shows with yourself and other colleagues to inform them of different activities. However, I don't know if Rayle want to give some more information.
No, I mean, again, that Child Safeguarding Week is a big thing. I mean, I want to use my 2 seconds just to, again, encourage everybody in our community to make sure that they play their part. Another thing that I just want to say is when it comes to foster care, foster parents, if you are able, if you're willing, maybe that's the role you play if you're sitting in a house and you have a couple of bedrooms to spare, because we want to know that when we go to work with our children or remove children from traumatic situations, that we have safe places to put them. And we'd rather have more safe places than to not have enough. So again, there's many ways that you can get involved in safeguarding in the Cayman Islands. If you don't know, you can contact any of these institutions and we'd be happy to assist you.
Okay. So, folks, a huge thanks to Superintendent Barrow, DCI Roberts, Ms. Tynisa Forsythe, and Mr. Rayle Roberts for their insight and dedication. As Child Safeguarding Week approaches, let this conversation be a reminder. Safeguarding is everyone's responsibility. Whether you're a parent, teacher, neighbor, or friend, your awareness could change a life. So, folks, we're going to go to our headline news. Please stay tuned as well, and we urge you to stay informed, stay involved, and above all, remain protective.
Yesterday,
today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
The Ministry of Caymanian Employment and Immigration wrapped up its in-person public consultations on the proposed Immigration Transition Amendment and Validation Bill recently. More than 120 people attended the 3 town hall meetings. Thousands more tuned in via YouTube, Facebook, and Radio Cayman. But you still have time to weigh in by sharing your feedback on the online public consultation at publicconsultation.gov.ky. In international news, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor told Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, quote, "I can't take any more of this," when he was first alerted 14 years ago that a British newspaper was about to run a report about the trio. His email conversation with the U.S.-based pair was among documents from the estate of the convicted sex offender Epstein that were released on Wednesday, including some mentioning Donald Trump. The former prince's response came after he was forwarded a right of reply email that the Mail on Sunday had sent Maxwell in March 2011, which made numerous claims about Andrew. The latest release comes after Andrew was requested by Democrats in U.S. Congress to answer questions as part of its investigation into Epstein, who died in jail in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking offenses. And the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has called for international action to cut off the supply of weapons to Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces, who are accused of mass killings in El Fasher. At the end of the G7 foreign ministers meeting in Canada, Rubio said the RSF had committed systematic atrocities, including murder, rape, and sexual violence against civilians. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter. Radio Cayman Headline News.
HSA's Orthopedic Clinic has relocated to the second floor of the Smith Road Medical Center. Our dedicated team of highly skilled orthopedic surgeons treat conditions ranging from spine to ankle injuries in adult and pediatric patients. We offer minimally invasive procedures from ligament reconstruction to hip and knee replacement. If you have experienced an injury due to sports or day-to-day activities, call 949-8600 and schedule an appointment with HSA's Orthopedic Clinic, now located at the Smith Road Medical Center.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Tired of burning cash at the gas pump and wasting time in traffic? Say goodbye to gridlock and hello to freedom with a Kimco scooter from Automotive Art. Trusted in over 100 countries, Kimco is now known worldwide for reliable, fuel-efficient scooters built to last. Perfect for Cayman's roads. With 2 models to choose from, the Agility 125cc for just $23.99 and the Agility RS Naked 125cc for $24.99. It's the smart, budget-friendly way to beat traffic and cut costs. Visit Automotive Art today and ride smarter with Kimco, because saving money should never mean slowing down.
Wait, why is she going into that spooky house? Who's that creepy old guy? And where are her friends? Why is she going in the basement? Nothing good is down there, sis. I bet you the creepy caretaker did it. Did you see his fake eye? Okay, maybe not the caretaker.
Hush.
You hush. I'm solving a mystery.
We're like the person who doesn't ruin the movie. CG Brinke. Good like that.
Parents, if you're navigating the world of boarding schools, it can feel overwhelming. Dorm and Day are here to help. You don't have to do it alone. Whether your child is reaching for new academic challenges, looking to shine as a competitive athlete, or simply searching for the school that brings out their best, Dorm and Day are your trusted educational experts located right here in Georgetown. For 10 years, Dorm and Day have helped families just like yours to find the best fit schools with one-on-one support every step of the way. So why stress when you can have an experienced partner by your side? Visit dormandday.ky or call 936-3676 today. Dorm and Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm your guest host, Art Connor, filling in for Miss Kathy Miller. And today we will be diving into the proposed changes to the Immigration Transition Amendment and Validation Bill 2025, with the public consultation deadline fast approaching. The 14th of November, that is tomorrow. This is your chance to hear directly from the leaders shaping this legislation. So it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me the Honorable Michael Myles, Member of Parliament and Minister with responsibility for Caymanian employment and immigration, Chief Officer in the Ministry, Mr. Wesley Howell, and Senior Policy Advisor, Mr. Rolna, DaCosta. And folks, I got her first name right. I practiced it. But when she was in the back, I made sure I called her name so I could practice it as well. Folks, good morning. Welcome to The Buzz.
Morning, OC.
Good morning.
Minister Myles, we're going to throw the mic right over to you, sir.
No, I was here last week with you, and as I've said to the listening audience, it's been a very, a very informative consultation process. I've also learned a lot, certainly from these two people, but from the folks from the many stakeholders that we have actually met with. We've gotten a lot of really great feedback from them. We are on the right track. Despite what, certainly the naysayers may want to say about the bill, I think the majority of our country is on board with where we're going, because we know that we have to protect our people. Immigration has to now be about two things, protecting Caymanians and ensuring that our borders are shored up. We have to ensure that we also focus, and I went down this road with you last week, OC, is that we have to start to talk about employment. My ministry is named the Ministry of Caymanian Employment. And while immigration is a critical part of that, it's also a very small part of that. We're also looking at bringing in labor and pension legislation that's also in line with our immigration reform. So I'm excited about getting into 2026 because we have labor and pension coming right behind this legislation, because it also complements this. In addition to that, we are looking at a lot of joined up approaches to enforcement. We know that immigration alone cannot combat some of the bad actors out there. So, we have to have DCI on board, HSA, the Health Insurance Commission, our Labor and Pension, RCIPS, Customs and Border Control. We've been, kicking a lot of silos down over the last 6 months. Education has been a really critical part of what we're doing now because we have, well over 1,100 plus young people overseas. They're coming back. Immigration affects them, so we have to start to be more prepared and we have to be more forward thinking about what we're doing. I also want to say, and certainly to the listening public, is that this bill is about being thoughtful. We didn't just rush into this. This immigration reform was part of just about everyone that's part of the coalition, part of all of our manifestos. People didn't just say, well, I just don't like foreigners, so therefore let's just get rid of all foreigners. That's not how we've ever approached immigration reform. We've looked at what the white paper that was presented by the former government had. We've taken a lot of the remnants. Rolna has been a major architect of a lot of this as well. But she's also reached out across from the AG's office, POCS, the governor's office, the deputy governor's office. We spoke to our Department of Work because they're often, they're often the last people that we actually consult with, right? But they're the ones that's actually going to do the work. So, we reached out to the boards. I met with all of the boards. We had the boards put, a lot of really good reports together on what they were seeing. I reached out to immigration, the Immigration Appeals Tribunal. They had a lot of wonderful just recommendations. So Rolna has taken a lot of that information as well. This is just the first phase of it. And we believe that we are on the right track. It is not, some people will say we're not going far enough. Some people will say, well, you've gone too far. I believe, and I believe that in my heart and soul, the research that we've put into this is right down the middle where we can ensure business gets the talent that they need if it's not Caymanian grown. And, the Caymanian, our Caymanian people are protected. So that's where we're going with it.
And this whole thing is not guided by emotion. It's guided by the data.
It's not. I've when I got into the ministry, I think the one thing that I found was, folks like Wes who's been immersed in this for a very long time, understands the law, removes his emotion, puts it aside, and looks at what the practicality of it is. How is it going to affect business? The Premier was very instrumental in guiding us further, in pushing me a lot harder to do a lot more stakeholder consultation. So we did a lot. I mean, we met with every industry. We met with, from Chamber of Commerce to the HR Society. We have people from the Caymanian Tourism Association, people from the legal profession, insurance, construction, retail, small business. We've invited everyone. The one thing that I have never been afraid of is sitting down with people and having heart-to-heart conversations about what we need, where we need to go as a country. Not what is in the best practice for Michael Myles or Wesley Howell. It is what is in the best interest of our children. Can we have this immigration law protect 3 or 4 generations down the line? If we get a year out and our business has changed, can we come back and tweak it? Absolutely, we can come back and tweak it. Why not, right? Like, why do we need to wait another decade in order to tweak things? You, as a board member, and certainly we all of the other boards, my responsibility is to come back to you and say, what's working, what's not working, right? And how does that match up to the department, right? And it's to speak to Director Scott and just and his team who've worked tremendously hard to put this in place. But we're burning these people out because how the current laws are structured and what we're doing with temporary work permits, it is not sustainable long term. We are going to deplete people. We're going to have a lot of people jumping ship, a lot of folks getting sick because we're simply just burning folks out. And that's the reality of it. I know that everybody wants their work permits, within a day, within the second. But when you have 65,000 applications that we're processing, 40,000 of that is just temporary work permits alone. What do you think we're going to focus on? We're going to focus on those temps. We're not going to get to anything else. So we have to do a better job with our customer care. We have to meet business where they are because business need to run. We need business to run because that's how the government get paid, right? I have made it very clear to business, we're not here to intrude on their business. We're here to make them more efficient, but we need to make sure that the department also have the best caliber people. And if we're consistently having lots of turnover, they're not going to win in the long run.
Okay, so Mr. Howell and Ms. Rolna, now that the 14th is approaching, can you tell us, where we are in the process, the feedback that you've been receiving? The minister, did mention all of the consultations and everything. How are things looking?
We have received extensive responses during the consultation phase, both, I would say, verbal and written.
Mm-hmm.
As Minister Myles just mentioned, we've done some town halls, and persons felt brave enough to stand up and give us their opinions, and we've explained, provided them with responses to their questions. In regards to the actual emailed questions that were received or have been received, obviously there are quite a number of responses that have been received, so we're unable to respond to each and every one individually, but there is a message to indicate to persons that we have received their email.
Okay.
Just so that everyone realizes they've responded or provided a response to the right email address. And we are taking all of that feedback into consideration, either during this round of consultation or, as Minister Myles just mentioned, we intend to do another round of changes, hopefully to the legislation. And any feedback that we feel is worthwhile, because we're not just getting feedback in regards to changes that we're currently making. Persons are also giving us additional feedback on things that they think should also be made, additional changes. So taking that into consideration as well. So it's been a really good extensive response, I believe. Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Howell?
Yeah, I don't think you can get more polarizing than immigration reform. And as Minister shared, some folks think that we're going too far, and some folks definitely think we're not going far enough. But it is all about a balance. We need to ensure that the law works for Caymanians, it works for Caymanian-owned businesses, and ensures that Caymanian can continue to be successful. I think the biggest thing that we've gotten back are some of the sort of questions around transitional provisions and what applies to who going forward, as well as the whole issue of entitled Caymanians or Caymanian by entitlement has been quite topical, and I think that's because of the common language use of entitled Caymanians in practice, and regular language is used to define generational Caymanians, but in law, as you schooled me a couple of weeks ago, when that was introduced in the Caymanian protection law, it was persons that were entitled to apply for the grant of status. So the entitlement, Caymanian by entitlement, is definitely, as it relates to persons who could lose their Caymanian status, their right to be Caymanian, by being absent for more than 5 years. That absolutely does not apply to generational Caymanians who are Caymanian by right, and they have that right because at the time of their birth, their parents were Caymanian, very different from those by entitlement who are born to parents that are not Caymanian, and then they go on to become Caymanian through dependency. I think if Ms. Rolna had her way, she would change Caymanian by entitlement to Caymanian by dependence, because that's how you go down that road. And I think the most surprising thing for a lot of folks who had concerns around the loss provision in relation to being absent from the country is that they didn't realize that not only were the dependent children that went on to become Caymanian in their own right after 18 now facing a loss provision, but the parents themselves also have a loss provision where if they're absent from the country for more than 5 years and not settled, exceptions for medical, for schooling and business and so on, that they could potentially lose their grant as well. So, but to be clear, definitely not something that applies to Caymanian by descent. If you are born to Caymanians at birth, then that does not apply to you.
So what do we say to those persons who have called for a longer consultation period and have also used to support their position the fact that if you're going to take a relook at the immigration legislation, even after this round, why not do it all in one round? What were the pressing issues, those that needed to be taken care of right away to address, overgrown situation?
If we were to take immigration on its hold, or see, to try to change it, it would take us the next 10 years. We'd never get through all of it. It's too complex. What our government have decided to do is take this in bite-sized pieces. Yeah. When we came into government 7 months ago, we started to look at what are the pressing issues and what do we need to solve right now. And the things that we needed to solve right now is some of the chaos that was happening in the department. We need to make sure that people stop job hopping. We need to make sure that margins of convenience, that we put that to almost bed. Because I can't give Director Scott, a massive army in order to enforce that. We have now between the DG's office and our Department of Work, there's over 300 margins of convenience that we suspect that we can't do a lot with because it's just hard to prove unless one of those two people come forward, and most of the time they do not. So we need to we needed to arm the director with more power in order to make decisions. We needed to arm the boards with more power to make decisions. So the things of what we're doing right now gives the immigration department or the Department of Work an opportunity to improve our customer service, make sure that we reduce the margins of convenience, and ensure that our 40,000 temps, that we don't continue on this road where Caymanians are not being seen because we're just bringing in cheap labor. So we need to discourage a number of things. We have done extensive consultation on this bill. Now, there's lots of stuff out in the public domain. I've not been told that we needed to do more by our government because we've done a lot of where we believe that a lot of the challenges fell on was businesses. So we did a lot of stakeholder consultation. I've been pounding the pavement on this since I got into government 7 months ago. So there's been lots of consultation. I've met with any and everybody who wanted to meet, from mom and pop shops to major corporations. Everybody is on board. Now, I get, some of the people that's calling for more consultation is people from the opposition. I want you to go back another 11 months, because we're in November now. The white paper came out probably in January. Look at the consultation that had. It had zero consultation. It just simply went to Parliament, and it failed miserably because no one explained anything of what was going on in that. And by the time it was leaked to the press or leaked to someone, people tore that stuff apart because no one understood why why would we go down this road where we took a lot of things, a lot of the protections out. But I didn't want to do that. So the moment that our government said, immigration is our number one priority, Minister, I need you to get out there and start to champion this. I started championing this from June, right? I started pulling businesses together. I started having stakeholder meetings because I knew it's going to affect them. The bill is a good bill. Our responsibility now is to get it across the finish line. I believe 90% of the folks that have given us a lot of good nods are on board. I'm not having more requests from the public to say we need more stakeholder meetings on this. It's only the opposition that seems to think. So my message to them is, tell me who else you want me to go talk to, right? Like, I'm not going to have more town hall meetings just because you think that that's a great idea. Each one of those town hall meetings costs us about $10,000, right? So all of that stuff is also online. Rolna has done a phenomenal job in putting FAQs out there. It has answered a lot of questions, right? It has also, brought people down, off of their high horses that we were just going to be just stripping people's facilities away. That's not what this is. What I'm trying to make sure happens is that people don't poison the well. And they feel that, and quite often when I hear certain people from the other side talk, they're only talking about one side of immigration. They're talking about, well, it's going to affect, business. Well, I looked at the stats. So last year, I went on the Caymanian's General Registry, which all of the companies are on. In the General Registry, I have lots of stats. So I encourage, certainly the opposition to get on there as well and look at that. Just last year alone, 2024, I wasn't in government. There were some remnants of our team that was in government. But last year alone, there wasn't a lot of talk about immigration reform. The Cayman Islands lost over almost 9,000 companies. Basically locked up shop, either left this jurisdiction or basically closed their doors. Well, I wasn't in government. There was no immigration reform that was going on, yet we lost almost 9,000 companies.
Would some of them have been just having a paper presence here rather than a physical presence?
But that's the thing, we'll see. Yeah. That's the thing. The opposition doesn't know that, right? So they're assuming that it's going. People are just going to just lock up business. Well, that's not how it works. But also in 2024, we gained 12,000 companies. 12,000 companies chose this jurisdiction, or people in our country decided, something? Cayman's a great place. I'm going to open up a business here, right? Businesses come and go, right? At the end of the day, how do we protect our people? I hear business, but how do we protect Caymanians? We have about 40,000. How do we make sure that we are priority in the country? And right now, we are going down a road where Caymanians are not priority. Caymanians are saying, I don't feel that this country is for me. Our children are saying, I don't have a presence here. I can't get a job here, despite me being qualified, despite me having experience, right? I don't feel like I belong. I'm losing my heritage, right? I don't see faces like mine when I go into a store or go into a restaurant, right? We have to be able to bring that back. So I say to the naysayers, go on the General Registry. We have about 120,000 companies registered in the Cayman Islands. We're probably going to gain more. We have 3 major hotels that are going to be opening up in 2026. We have almost 39,000 work permits. We're not going to lose business. This is a phenomenal jurisdiction to do business in. And when we do lose business, it's going to be people making a decision for their business that, something, based on technology, I can probably do this a little bit cheaper here. But guess what? Caymanians are also doing that overseas. I told people 10 years ago when I wanted to get into business, I couldn't afford a $6,000 website. So I contacted an organization in India and they put a website together for me for less than $1,000.
Wow.
Right? Because as a new business owner, I couldn't afford that. Accounting, I'm all of my accounting, I didn't hire an accountant. I couldn't afford that. I had to make sure that I subcontracted that stuff out. There's a number of things that people have had to choose. But Cayman has always been a great jurisdiction, that we're resilient enough and people are making a lot of money in our country. I've also heard the argument, well, the cost of living is going to go up. So I also contacted ESO and I said, hey, show me the cost of living index between 2013, when the PPM was in power, between 2013 and 2018. The cost of living went up tremendously during that time, despite them having significant surpluses, right? Why? We don't control a lot of the cost of living. We don't have factories here, right? We don't make anything. We don't produce anything in a major scale. So yes, we import everything. So once we're importing, 80% of it comes from the U.S. Once the U.S., I don't know if it was West that was saying this, but if the U.S. gets a cold, Cayman sneezes, or vice versa. It's one of those, right?
The U.S. sneezes, Cayman gets a cold.
Correct, right? So, the cost of oil goes up. We pay for that because we import all of it. We cannot control a lot of this stuff, right? We're going to do the best we can. But how do we make sure that the kid that gets off that plane, that we've just paid $150,000 for his or her education, is transitioned to employment? I have to guarantee that to a parent, to a grandparent, today. They don't have the time to wait 5 years. They want to make sure that they're productive today, the moment that they graduate. And guess what, OC? We're spending $40 million in these children's education. That's just the people that we have there on government scholarships. But what about the people that their parents are paying for them? What about the people that, our private sector is paying for them, right? We have to now do this differently. So I hear the concerns. This is a thoughtful bill. It was done by phenomenal people who are very gifted in this area, who are very knowledgeable in this area. It had more consultation than anything that I have seen since I have been part of it, and I've been in government in 4 different departments. We rarely do consultation, right? I have asked for more consultation. So if people feel that I need to do more, tell me who you want me to go talk to. Give me a call. Tell me who you want me to go talk to. I'll go talk to those people. I will have Wes. I will have Rolna. We will get our stuff and we'll go talk to those people. But what I think people are now doing is blowing smoke. What they want to do now is that it's so close to changing things in our country for Caymanians, the better Caymanians. It's all of a sudden, this is still the little duppy in the room that, that wants to, they want to scare everyone. I'm sorry, that's not what this is. So they can continue talking their stupid trash. My thing right now is that we're protecting Caymanians, and I don't believe that any Caymanian at this point in time is saying we need more consultation in this bill.
And Ms. Rolna, not wanting to give you any more work because we know you have a whole lot of work now, but talking about the feedback that you have received and a lot, some of it not necessarily addressing what's in this particular bill. And we have heard some persons talk about the fact that whether or not you could make public the comments and the suggestions made by the public. Is there any intention to maybe put them under different headings and basically summarize some of the feedback and that you have received from individuals or organizations to get an idea of what the thought process is all about?
Yes, so we're actually in the process of doing that.
Oh, great.
As you and I are speaking. Again, it's been 4 weeks or so since the process has started. So keeping on top of all the comments and everything, again, both from via email and town halls and whatnot, all the different forums that we've been participating in. We have all of that feedback, and we are trying to theme the responses that were received. Yes, so that is in the process. We have not been given a mandate by the government to share that information. Should we be given that mandate, we will definitely do that. But as it stands right now, we are in the process of collating all the comments that were received. Yes.
Excellent.
And see if I can add in real quick, our frequent asked questions that we're publishing on the website is actually a little window into what we've been getting in terms of consultation. In addition to that, as Rolna shared, we also have recommendations for future changes on non-connected items to do with immigration. Again, you can't get much more polarizing than immigration. So I can say that the work on the PR point system and term limits and stuff, that's coming right behind that paper. I'm actually a bit anxious to try and get that through because we want to get that into caucus and cabinet to get a steer from them as to which direction they want to take that from a policy perspective. But we do have the bulk of that coming out of the committee that Dr. Steve Matfield chaired with those recommendations and then taking that forward. So lots of work going on all across the ministry.
It's exciting stuff, man. What I'm excited about is that we didn't do immigration in a silo. We did immigration, and we're doing pension and labor and employment and minimum wage all in the same line.
Yeah.
All slowly, all with thought, all with consultation, but all moving at a pace. So when people normally do this in government, they do one, and then they get so far down the road and they're, oh crap, well, what about these? We forgot that we now need to change these bills, and then all of a sudden we now need to come back and readjust some bill or some legislation, whereas we're looking at all of it. So we've been able to get all of it moving all together. The one thing that I'm a proponent of, and Wes and Rolna can tell you, the moment that I got into the ministry, we're working, man. I'm working now. There's a level of urgency that we have to start to do for Caymanians now. The world is shrinking. Migration is getting thicker. People are wanting to come here, and I receive many phone calls every single day, and it's heartbreaking. Some of the things that students are telling me that they have gone through, parents, grandparents, it's a feeling now that we can't wait more. We can't delay this, right? People are being pushed aside. They're falling into poverty. And I am not going to have, whether it's the opposition or naysayers out there, talk about, well, we need to delay it and we need more consultation. We've had a lot of consultation. A matter of fact, I had my team do consultation with opposition on 2 different days. Like, that's how much I'm committed to them being on board with this. And they don't have to accept all of it, because no one ever is going to accept all of it. But I didn't have to, right? I could have said, here's the bill. It's certainly out there. You pull it. You decipher it for what you want. We met with them. Rolna and West went through every aspect of all of the major components of that bill. They had their questions. We've answered those questions. And yet they said, well, it's not enough. So we came back another day and we gave them more than we gave most stakeholders, right? So all of this is all about being transparent. I don't have anything to hide from any of these people. At the end of the day, they're going to see the regulations. Our responsibility is to get through the consultation process, is to start to look, what changes do we need making? That's what Rolna and West is helping with. Hey, you know something, Minister? We now have to make this change on the floor because this is a good change. And we've gotten that. She's already said to me, hey, these are really good changes. We can't make it right now, but you're going to have to make this on the floor because there's a number of stakeholders that have said this need to actually be in the bill as well. And I said, absolutely, right? But I'm not going to make changes because it's politics is normal. Well, I have my rich people that are telling me that I just don't want this in the bill. I'm sorry. I don't care. I'm not here for the rich people, right? They're going to be okay, right? The wealthy organizations are going to be good.
They'll find a way.
Right? They're going to find a way to do business and do well. I'm not here to disrupt their business. That's not what this is about. It's about protecting Caymanians and protecting our borders and making sure that our children have employment, good employment. We cannot continue to say we're going to spend $40 million and then at the end of the day, our children can't get an increase because we are now giving, people above them Cayman citizenship, right? Wes showed me the numbers of Cayman status and permanent residence. It's insane, the amount of things. I mean, he was showing me how we've grown compared to the UK. We are outpacing a country with almost 70 million people. Why would we continue to go down that road? Another thing is, why are we giving away the status? Right? This, I could understand 50 years ago, 6 years ago when we were building the country. But today, we're established. We're a magnitude, man. We are a phenomenal financial capital of the world. We are a competitor out there. Why do we feel it? We need to just give status away because a millionaire feels that he has $1 billion and he can just buy Cayman status. Sorry, we can no longer do stuff like that. Because every time we do that, those people don't come to this country alone. They're bringing their children, they're bringing their grandchildren, and they're bringing their great-grandchildren. And they're competing against our children. So why are we making it so easy for them? I can't go to the U.S. and get status. Why? Because I believe that I'm Caymanian and I deserve it. I can't go to Jamaica and Jamaicans give me status, or Barbados or anywhere else.
Can't go with that expectation at all.
I cannot have the expectation that I work in a country, I could come in on a temporary work permit, and I have the expectation that I just shouldn't leave the country. I have a fundamental just wrong thing with the expectation, the entitlement that people feel that they could just walk into Cayman and we should just give them status just because. Sorry, we're not desperate, right? We have enough people. There's 80,000 plus of us in counting. Our country is looking at the business that we want, and we will continue to enhance. We're going after the insurance business. The Premier said, hey, here's what we're battling with right now. We're going to make it, we're going to provide some concessions to ensure that these people are attracted to us. We're getting that business. We have to start to look at, do we have actuaries? Is that the type of job that our people are getting into? And if it's not, let's start giving those scholarships, because those are the people that are going to be coming into our country as well, and our people need to compete with them. So we are not in the business anymore as a government of just giving away citizenship. Now, the previous governments, if that's what they were in the business with, they had their opportunity. What we are doing right now is protecting Caymanians.
Okay. Want to have some final comments with the 14th approaching. We're going to start with you, Ms. Rolna.
Yes, sir. I just want to say that, again, they have one more day after today to provide us with their feedback. And we obviously are taking note of all the feedback that we are receiving. And feel free to continue to send in your comments and suggested changes. They will be considered. It's not that we're not reading them, it's a lot. And I also want to thank you for having us again, to give us the opportunity to go through what changes have been made and the intentions of those changes. Just thank the listening audience for giving us the opportunity to let them know what's happening, what's coming.
One of the things that questions that I didn't get to ask is that there are several practitioners out there now, some that are in terms of immigration legislation, some that are pretty knowledgeable, pretty good because they have had years of experience, in doing immigration work. Have you received valuable feedback from them as well?
Absolutely. And some of the learned folks have sent in some things that are actually committee stage amendments.
Yes.
The front row of Mayor Miller's town hall meeting was recruitment firms, HR professionals, legal professionals working in immigration. Like, I was watching them coming in and going, we're going to have an interesting But we welcome, and I said this to Minister Myles. I said, the rubber will meet the road when we put the bill out there for consultation, because when you've worked within it for so long, you don't always, like, it's proofreading your own work, right? You don't always see, and you know what it's supposed to say, that you don't always see the things that might need a bit of tweaking or changing to make it more clear and so on. And we got some of those feedback back. The transitional provisions is one of those. The way it reads now, it appears as if persons on work permit, for example, would be locked in to the current legislation. That's not the case. When your work permit finishes, it finishes. When your new one starts, you start with a new legislation.
Okay.
If you have PR, you continue down that road. If you're married, you continue down that road. But the way that it's written, we use the word certificate, and that wasn't clear. Permission. So we're taking the opportunity, and Ms. Rolna is brilliant at this, to work with the drafters to clarify bits like that. But so it's brilliant feedback, always helpful. The formal consultation is over on the 14th. We will continue to receive emails to the ministry's inbox. We have another piece of bill coming back, and future amendments are there. Minister Myles has already gone public to say, if it's not working, we're going to change it. So,
absolutely changing it.
Send feedback in.
No legislation is perfect.
Absolutely.
It's not. It's not. It's never going to be 100%. But I believe that what we have is a very good legislation that is going to close a lot of loopholes and serve a lot of people. You ask about a lot of these lawyers and certainly experts in the field. That's who I met with. A matter of fact, as we campaigned with the Caymanian National Party, that's exactly who I was meeting with. I was meeting with, immigration lawyers, right? We wanted to go down the road where we wanted to understand what they were seeing. And a lot of them came forward to say, something, I've made a lot of money off of this, right? But it's ridiculous. Right?
And it's affecting them as well.
We cannot continue to go down this road. And while I'd like to continue to make money off of this, we have to close these loopholes. So it's a lot of that. Rolna have also met a lot of these people. She's sat down with a lot of these folks as well. So it's not that we have just, cut all of these people off and say, well, we're the government, so we know it all. I've never had that approach. A lot of what we've done is more collaboratively. We want to continue to reach across any line from government to the private sector. But specifically, I have met with a lot of attorneys who have said, hey, these are things that you need to consider. So,
okay. Just the final point that we'd like to get across to our listening and viewing audience as well, the timelines now in relation to when the bill will go to Parliament.
Bill goes to Parliament on December 10th. It'll be debated for about 3 days in Parliament. We've been doing a lot of, like I've said earlier, Rolna West myself, we've met with the opposition to give them an opportunity to comment. We don't want this to be adversarial, but it is what it is. It is politics, and they feel that they are going to continue to make politics out of it, then we certainly have the numbers and we'll push it across the line without their support. I'd like to have their support because I think it's a great bill, and I believe that in their heart that they agree with 90% of what we're doing. So I would hope that we don't go down to Parliament and make this a cat fight. But as I said, it is what it is. But it does go in December. We are working, as Wes and Rolna said, we are working on the regulations. We want to get as much feedback back and have the public consultation come to an end so we can look at what now needs to go in the regs. And I think that's a great sort of process that we're going through. Wes also mentioned, looking at, we have completely gutted the point system. We knew, and we've set up commissions and all of this sort of stuff. As he said, Dr. Steve McField, did a great job in bringing a group of people from every sort of industry in on that. And I think we have a really great opportunity to get this right with a good bill, certainly good regulations, and with ensuring that the point system works.
Excellent.
The boards have been readjusted. We have a lot of phenomenal new faces on there. We've done training now with the boards for the first time in forever. So there's a lot of things that we have done differently because we believe that as a government, one, we need to be transparent and we need to be accountable. We need to start to be accountable for this stuff. And I'm the first one in the line. When we get it wrong, Wes will tell you, I pick up the phone and I call employers and apologize because when we get it right, no one normally sees it. But when we get it wrong, I understand because I'm also, I come from the business community as well. And my claws are always up when people are annoying me when I can't get the things that I need to get. So I am calling business owners and say, listen, man, we've gotten this wrong. I'm going to work with our chief officer. I'm going to work with Director Scott, with his team, and we're going to get this right for you. And that's what we are doing different.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank all of you for making yourselves available as well. Great job. Lots of work.
Yep.
And folks, that is it for The Buzz. It's been my pleasure filling in for Miss Kathy Miller. Don't forget to join Mr. Charles Glidden Challow at 12:15 for Talk Today. Have a great day, and may the good Lord continue to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman. Your car, our passion. And by Dorman Day, celebrating 10 years of opening doors to brighter futures. Visit dormanday.ky.
You are listening to